Have you ever been driving down the road minding your own business when suddenly you end up behind a massive brand new truck? You know the kind. Perfect paint, oversized tires, lights everywhere. The kind of vehicle that looks like it costs more than most people's apartments. And for a second you think, how is that even possible? Because here's the strange part. The person driving it doesn't look rich. They don't live in a mansion. They don't seem like a millionaire. So how does a normal person afford a vehicle with a payment that sounds more like rent? That question bothered me for a long time, because when you really look around, you start noticing it everywhere. Regular people driving extremely expensive cars while constantly complaining about prices, bills, and money stress. So what's actually going on? My name is Tony, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time thinking about money and why people make decisions that don't seem to make sense on paper. And if you've ever wondered how so many people are driving cars they clearly shouldn't be able to afford, this video will explain exactly how it happens, and why understanding this could save you from a financial mistake that quietly ruins people for years. Because what we're seeing right now isn't rare. It's not unusual. It's not a few reckless individuals. It's a widespread system. Car payments in the US have reached levels that would have sounded insane just a decade ago. Monthly payments that rival rent, loans that last longer than some marriages. And yet millions of people sign these contracts every single year. Not because they're bad people, not because they're stupid, but because the system is designed to make the impossible feel reasonable. And here's the first big twist. Most of these people are not wealthy. They're not hiding massive savings accounts. They're not crypto millionaires. They're not secretly funded by family money. They're teachers, nurses, office workers, tradespeople, parents, people with normal incomes who somehow made the numbers work. At least, it looks that way. The truth is, there's a combination of financial tricks and psychological pressure that turns a bad decision into something that feels smart in the moment. And once you understand it, you'll never look at expensive cars the same way again. Let's talk numbers for a second. Today, it's completely normal to see car payments around $700 a month, not for luxury cars, for average everyday vehicles. Trucks and SUVs, those payments regularly cross $900, sometimes over $1,000. And yes, $1,200 a month is more common than people want to admit. And these aren't short loans. 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Some people are paying for a vehicle for nearly a decade. And if you're thinking, well, maybe people just earn more money now. I wish that were true. Income has increased slightly, but not nearly enough to justify these payments using traditional financial logic. So how do people do it? The answer is not higher income, it's a system. The first part of that system is longer loan terms. Years ago, a car loan was 3 years, 4 if you were stretching. Now, 72 months is normal, 84 months is common, and some lenders are quietly offering even longer. Why? Because spreading a large price over more years makes the monthly payment look manageable. A truck that would cost $1,500 a month over 4 years suddenly looks affordable at $900 over 8. That monthly number becomes the focus. But what most people don't think about is the total cost. By extending the loan, you don't just lower the payment, you dramatically increase what you pay overall. You end up paying tens of thousands more just for the comfort of a smaller monthly number. And worse, you stay in debt long after the vehicle has lost most of its value. That's how people get trapped in negative equity, owing more than the car is worth, unable to sell, unable to escape. But long loan terms are just the beginning. Another major factor is promotional financing. 0% interest sounds amazing. Free money, right? Not exactly. That free financing is built into the price of the vehicle. You either pay full price with low interest or get a discount with higher interest. You don't get both, and the people who actually qualify for the best financing are usually the same people who didn't need it in the first place. For everyone else, interest quietly adds thousands to the cost. Then there's the trade-in game. This is where things get dangerous. Someone buys a vehicle on a long loan. A few years later, they want something newer, but they still owe more than the car is worth. So the dealership offers a solution. They roll the old debt into the new loan. Now the person is paying for a car they no longer own while taking on debt for another one. It's a financial treadmill. No matter how much you pay, you never move forward. And once you're stuck in that cycle, it's incredibly hard to get out without writing a large check. But the most powerful part of this system isn't financial, it's psychological. Car payments like this have become normalized. People who would never spend $1,200 a month on anything else somehow accept it for transportation. If someone told you they spent that much on clothes or coffee, you'd be concerned. But when it's a car, we say, well, you need reliable transportation. That didn't happen by accident. Cars stopped being transportation a long time ago. They became identity. Your vehicle is no longer just how you get to work. It's how you signal success, responsibility, status. Advertising doesn't sell engines and wheels anymore. It sells a version of you, the rugged truck climbing mountains, the luxury SUV protecting your family, the freedom, the image. Even if the closest thing to adventure is a grocery store parking lot, when you buy into that identity, the payment stops feeling like a cost. It feels like an investment in who you are. And that emotional shift makes rational thinking almost impossible. So how do people actually make these payments work every month? They sacrifice. They reorganize their entire lives around the car. They move into smaller apartments. They delay buying homes. They skip vacations. They eat cheaper food. They cut everything else first. Some people take second jobs just to support their vehicle. They drive rideshare. They deliver food, using the expensive car to earn money and to pay for the expensive car. At that point, the car isn't freedom, it's ownership. Others pull money from retirement accounts, borrow from their future, take loans they don't fully understand, and then there are the invisible costs that finish the job. Insurance on expensive vehicles is brutal. Maintenance is far more expensive than people expect. Modern repairs are shocking. Brakes, sensors, electronics. One problem can wipe out a month of progress. Gas alone can quietly drain hundreds every month, and most people never fully calculate these costs when they sign, which leads to the moment that changes everything. Let's run the real math. Imagine someone buys a $55,000 vehicle. They finance it for 7 years. The payment looks manageable, but over time, they spend tens of thousands on insurance, tens of thousands on fuel, thousands on maintenance. When you add it all up, they've spent well over 6 figures. And at the end of those 7 years, the vehicle is worth a fraction of what they paid. They traded long-term wealth for short-term image. And here's the part that hurts the most. If that same monthly payment had been invested instead, even conservatively, the outcome would look very different. But that opportunity is gone because the money wasn't growing, it was depreciating. This leads to what I call the golden wheel syndrome. Once someone commits to a massive car payment, they emotionally defend it. The vehicle becomes part of their identity. So when someone suggests a cheaper alternative, it doesn't sound like advice. It sounds like disrespect. And the system depends on that reaction. Because as long as people focus on monthly payments instead of total cost, as long as identity overrides math, the cycle continues. So the next time you're driving and you see that massive, expensive vehicle in front of you, remember this. Most of the time, it's not a sign of wealth. It's a sign of a system working exactly as designed. And suddenly that simple, reliable car in your driveway, it doesn't look boring anymore. It looks like freedom.